The hum of the research station was constant, steady, and almost comforting. For months, Lieutenant Aaron Cross had been stationed on Orbit 17, a remote outpost on the edge of the human-controlled sector. The station was small, just enough to house a handful of humans and a rotating team of alien researchers who were studying the effects of a rare mineral on nearby planets. Life had settled into a predictable rhythm: daily system checks, monitoring satellites, cataloging research data, and occasionally communicating with the main fleet. Aaron liked the quiet. He liked knowing that his day could be measured in simple, straightforward tasks. It gave him a sense of control, a sense of security in a galaxy that often felt chaotic. He had no idea that the routine peace of Orbit 17 was about to shatter in the most unexpected way. He had just finished his shift in the observation bay, staring out at the endless black dotted with stars, when a loud bang echoed from the corridor outside his quarters. Startled, he instinctively reached for his sidearm, though he hated to admit it. He wasn't expecting anyone. Visitors were rare on this station, and the idea of a random intruder was almost laughable. Almost. Before he could process what was happening, the door to his quarters burst open. Aaron froze. The figure that stepped inside moved with astonishing speed and confidence. She was humanoid but clearly not human, her skin a pale shade of lavender that shimmered faintly under the room lights. Her eyes were large, golden, and intelligent, scanning the room with a mixture of urgency and purpose. "Lieutenant Cross," she said, her voice melodic but firm, "you don't have much time." Aaron blinked, his mind scrambling. "Who, what, how did you get in here?" The woman ignored the question. She moved past him, setting down a small device on his desk. The device hummed faintly, pulsing with light. "This contains the coordinates. The station is compromised. You need to move now." Aaron took a cautious step forward. "Compromised? By who?" She turned to him, her expression serious. "By forces that will destroy this station if we delay. They're not human, and they won't wait for anyone to negotiate." Aaron's heart started to race. He had trained for emergencies, but nothing like this. He had been ready for system malfunctions, occasional alien visitors, even minor sabotage, but an actual invasion, and here, right in his quarters. "Okay," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "What do you need me to do?" She glanced at the device and then back at him. "I need you to trust me. You're the only one who can operate the secondary shuttle. The main shuttle bay is blocked. We have to leave through the emergency exit. Can you handle that?" Aaron swallowed hard. "I can, but what about you? I don't even know your name." The woman hesitated, as if weighing whether to answer. Then she said, "Call me Kelara, and right now names are less important than survival." Aaron nodded, forcing himself to think clearly. Survival. That word carried weight in a place like this. It demanded action, not hesitation. Kelara moved quickly, opening a storage panel and pulling out a small suit-like device. "You'll need this," she said, tossing it toward him. "It will protect you from environmental hazards in the outer corridors. Follow me exactly and we'll make it." Aaron grabbed the suit and started to put it on. As he adjusted the straps, Kelara paced toward the door. "We don't have much time," she said. "Once the alert is triggered, every corridor will be swarming with hostile units. They're fast and they're relentless." Aaron's mind raced. He had trained for combat, yes, but this was different. He didn't know the enemy. He didn't know Kelara's abilities. And yet, there was something in the way she carried herself, something in the certainty of her movements, that made him believe she had survived worse than this. The corridor outside was dimly lit. Emergency lights flickered, casting long shadows on the metal walls. Aaron followed Kelara closely. She moved with a fluid grace that seemed almost unnatural, her senses alert to threats he could barely perceive. "They could be anywhere," she whispered, her eyes scanning ahead. "Don't make a sound." They crept along the corridor, the hum of the station now broken by occasional clanging sounds in the distance. Aaron realized with a shock that these were not random noises. They were mechanical footsteps, precise and calculated. Whoever or whatever was coming, they were disciplined. Kelara paused suddenly. "There," she whispered, pointing to a maintenance hatch partially concealed behind a panel. "Through here, it leads to the emergency shuttle path." Aaron moved to follow, but a sudden alarm blared through the station, red lights flashing violently. The mechanical footsteps grew louder, faster. Kelara's hand shot out, gripping his arm. "Now," she hissed. They slipped through the hatch into a narrow maintenance tunnel. The air was colder here, and the hum of the emergency systems made it hard to think clearly. Aaron tried to focus, matching his pace to Kelara's. "You're human," she said suddenly, not as a question but a statement. "I expected more hesitation. You're faster than I thought." Aaron gave a small, nervous laugh. "Thanks, I think." Kelara didn't smile. "In a moment, thanks won't matter. Survival will." The tunnel curved sharply, and Aaron nearly tripped over a cable. Kelara caught him effortlessly. He noticed that despite her small frame, there was a strength in her movements that was unusual. Not brute strength, but efficiency, every motion precise, every step calculated. They reached the end of the tunnel and emerged into a small chamber. A sleek, compact shuttle waited there, its engines already humming softly. Kelara gestured to the controls. "You fly. I'll handle the security protocols. Together, we can get out of here before they block the exit." Aaron hesitated. "I've flown shuttles before, but nothing like this." She leaned close, her expression firm. "You don't have a choice. If you fail, this station and everyone on it will be destroyed." Her words hit him like a cold wave. There was no room for error, no time to question. Only action. He moved to the pilot's seat, hands shaking slightly as he adjusted the controls. Kelara began interfacing with the shuttle's systems, her fingers flying across the holographic interface with skill that made Aaron's head spin. "Engines are stable," she said. "We need to clear the docking locks and launch in 30 seconds. Aaron glanced at the tunnel entrance. Shadows danced along the walls, shapes moving too fast to identify. Mechanical footsteps, relentless, approaching. 30 seconds, she repeated, almost to herself. Aaron took a deep breath, gripping the controls. He reminded himself of his training, of every simulation he had ever run. Trust in instincts, trust in the machinery, trust in Kelara. The shuttle doors hissed as they began to retract. Aaron counted down in his head. 3, 2, 1. With a sudden jolt, the shuttle lifted off the platform. The engine roar filled the chamber as they accelerated through the emergency tunnel and into open space. Outside, Orbit 17 glimmered against the stars, peaceful in appearance but deadly in reality. Kelara exhaled slowly. "That was close," she said. "But it's not over. We've only escaped one threat. The real danger is still out there, and it's coming." Aaron nodded, his hands steady now on the controls. The adrenaline was still coursing through him, but a strange calm had settled over his mind. He had survived the impossible once, and he had a companion who was more than capable of handling herself. Together they could face whatever came next. "Where to now?" he asked. Kelara turned to him, her golden eyes glowing faintly in the shuttle's dim cockpit. "We go to the coordinates in this device. There we'll find answers and maybe allies. But first we need to be ready for anything." Aaron looked at the stars stretching out before them. The galaxy was vast, full of danger and wonder, and for the first time in a long while he felt alive in a way he hadn't before. He had no idea what awaited them, but one thing was certain. The quiet life of Orbit 17 was gone forever, and whatever came next, humanity would have a hand in shaping it. The shuttle glided silently through the blackness of space, leaving Orbit 17 far behind. Aaron Cross kept his hands steady on the controls, but his mind raced with questions. Who were the attackers? How had they infiltrated a secure human station? And why had Kelara come to him of all people? Kelara sat across from him, her eyes scanning the readouts on a small holographic panel. The soft light illuminated her lavender skin, highlighting the delicate ridges along her jawline. She didn't speak immediately, letting Aaron focus on the controls. But he could feel her presence, calm yet alert, a steadying force in the chaos that had just erupted. Finally, she broke the silence. The threat we just escaped isn't random. It's coordinated. They know about this station, and they know about the mineral research. Whatever they plan, it involves destroying everything here and using the mineral for their own purposes. Aaron nodded slowly. So they're after resources. Typical. He tried to inject a hint of humor, but the tension in his chest wouldn't let it rise. But why me? Why not the fleet? Kelara's golden eyes met his. Because you're human, you think differently, you improvise, you take risks others won't. That is why I came to you. Aaron stared at her. He wasn't sure if he should feel proud or terrified. So you think I can make a difference? I know you can, she said, her voice firm, leaving no room for argument. The shuttle passed through a narrow asteroid belt, tiny fragments of rock drifting dangerously close. Aaron maneuvered carefully, dodging each obstacle with skill, proving Kelara right. She occasionally adjusted the navigation systems, guiding him through particularly tight spaces, but the piloting remained his. You're good at this, she said as he narrowly avoided a spinning rock the size of a small building. Yeah, well, I've had practice avoiding trouble, he replied, though he forced himself not to smile. There was no time for relief. They exited the asteroid belt and entered open space once more. Kelara tapped a few commands into the holographic interface. A map of nearby star systems appeared, with a single point highlighted. This is where we're going, a small outpost on the edge of the sector. They will help us understand the threat and prepare a countermeasure. Aaron leaned back slightly. How far is it? 2 light days. Fast for a shuttle, but not fast enough to avoid detection if they follow us. Aaron's stomach tightened. So they might still be tracking us. Kelara nodded. We must assume they are. That is why we stay off main communication channels and avoid the usual routes. Hours passed as they traveled in silence, the only sound the soft hum of the shuttle's engine. Aaron studied Kelara, trying to understand her better. She was not just an alien, she was a fighter, a strategist, and now his unlikely partner. There was confidence in her movements, but also a hint of urgency, a weight she carried silently. Finally, Kelara spoke. We will have to work together closely once we reach the outpost. The humans there are capable, but they are cautious. They will need proof that the threat is real and immediate. Aaron swallowed hard. Proof? You mean evidence of the attackers? Yes, Kelara replied, and something more. Evidence that shows how they operate, how we can stop them. Without that, even the best preparations may fail. Aaron nodded, absorbing the responsibility. The stakes were higher than anything he had faced before. The survival of not just one station but potentially multiple systems depended on their actions. The shuttle's sensors beeped suddenly, pulling Aaron from his thoughts. Kelara leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. Detection signature. Someone is following us. Aaron checked the readouts. A small, sleek vessel appeared on the radar, moving fast and silent. We're being tailed, he confirmed, his voice calm but tense. Kelara's fingers flew across the controls. They're testing us. Let's see if you can think like they do. Aaron's mind raced. He could try evasive maneuvers, but the shuttle's speed was limited compared to the attacker's. He took a deep breath, relying on his instincts. Then, with a sudden sharp turn, he dove into the shadow of a nearby asteroid field, weaving through massive rocks. The enemy vessel followed, but Kelara's adjustments to the shuttle systems made the difference. Good, she said, her voice calm but approving. You're thinking ahead. Aaron smiled briefly. I told you humans improvise. The vessel behind them fired a pulse of energy, but the asteroid shields absorbed it. Sparks and debris flew past the shuttle, rattling the cabin. Aaron gritted his teeth, hands tight on the controls. They're persistent, he muttered. They are, Kelara agreed. But persistence doesn't always mean success. Watch for patterns, predict their moves. Aaron focused, watching the enemy ship's movements carefully. He noticed a rhythm, a hesitation after each attack. Using that, he maneuvered the shuttle with precision, leading the attacker into a narrow canyon of asteroids. The pursuing ship couldn't follow without risking collision and was forced to break off the chase. Aaron exhaled, adrenaline still pumping. Kelara gave him a faint nod. Well done, that is exactly why I came to you. You don't just follow orders, you anticipate, you adapt. That makes the difference. Aaron leaned back, allowing himself a moment to breathe. So, we're safe for now, Kelara shook her head slightly. Temporarily. But the real challenge is ahead. We reach the outpost, we present our evidence, and we prepare for the battle to come. That is when we will truly see what humans and aliens can accomplish together. Aaron studied the map again. The outpost was small, almost insignificant, but it held resources and personnel capable of turning the tide if used correctly. He felt a growing sense of determination. The galaxy was bigger and more dangerous than he had ever imagined, but he would not falter. He had survived Orbit 17, survived the chase, and now he had Kelara by his side. Together, they could face anything. As the shuttle neared the outpost, Kelara activated the communication interface. A holographic figure appeared, Commander Vera, human, and in charge of the remote facility. She looked surprised to see them, especially Kelara, but her expression quickly turned serious when Kelara explained the situation. Vera listened intently. You're telling me the station was attacked, and you were responsible for saving the human researcher? Yes, Aaron replied, and that's not all. There's a coordinated attack coming. We need to prepare defenses, gather evidence, and understand their strategy before it's too late. Vera's eyes narrowed. If what you say is true, this could escalate quickly. I'll mobilize the team, but we need proof. Can you provide it? Kelara held up the small device she had brought from Orbit 17. Everything is here. Coordinates, attack patterns, preliminary scans of the attacker's technology. With this, you can plan a defense and counterattack. Vera studied the data carefully, then nodded. This is significant. You've done well to bring this to us. We will prepare immediately. Aaron, Kelara, you will work directly with my team to coordinate defenses. Aaron felt a surge of pride. For the first time, he realized that humans could stand shoulder to shoulder with advanced alien civilizations and make a difference. His ingenuity, his quick thinking, and his courage were now tools in a larger fight. Kelara smiled faintly at him. See, humans are more capable than many give them credit for. You especially have proven that today. Aaron looked at her, the words settling in. The galaxy was dangerous and they had only scratched the surface, but he felt ready. Together, they would face the coming storm, and humanity would not be a bystander. As the outpost prepared for the challenges ahead, Aaron and Kelara began coordinating with scientists, strategists, and engineers, planning a defense that relied on human creativity and alien technology working together. It was a strange partnership, but one that could change the course of events in the galaxy. Aaron looked out of the observation window at the stars. They stretched endlessly, full of danger and opportunity. The threat was real, but so was the potential for greatness. And for the first time in a long while, he felt a deep sense of purpose. Humanity might be small in the vastness of space, but it was clever, resourceful, and brave. And with Kelara by his side, he knew they could face anything. Aaron Cross stood at the observation window of the outpost, watching the black expanse of space stretch endlessly before him. Every star, every glimmer of light, reminded him of the vastness of the galaxy and the danger lurking in it. He had survived Orbit 17, escaped pursuit through the asteroid belt, and now, with Kelara at his side, he was preparing for the battle that could decide the fate of multiple systems. Kelara approached, her eyes golden and steady. The attackers are preparing to strike. We have limited time, we must plan carefully. Aaron nodded, turning to the holographic display the outpost team had prepared. Red dots appeared across the screen, indicating enemy ships moving toward their sector. "How many?" he asked. "More than we expected," Kelara said. "They're fast, organized, and heavily armed, but they underestimate humans, and that is where we have the advantage." Aaron's stomach tightened. They were outnumbered, but he had learned something in their journey. Humans could improvise in ways others could not. He looked at Kelara. "What do you suggest?" Kelara tapped the display, highlighting the enemy formation. "We cannot match them in firepower. We must use strategy, terrain, and unpredictability. You understand improvisation. Help me plan this." Aaron leaned over the display, studying the enemy patterns. He began to suggest maneuvers, using the asteroid fields and debris near their sector as cover and traps. Kelara listened, her expression calm but focused. They debated each move, combining human intuition with alien technology, until they had a plan that was daring, precise, and risky. The outpost's defense systems were activated, energy shields shimmering around the station. Turrets rotated into position, ready to fire, but the real plan relied on cunning rather than brute force. Aaron's mind raced as he coordinated small shuttle teams, instructing them to lure the enemy into a narrow corridor between two asteroid belts where maneuverability would be limited. As the enemy fleet approached, Aaron could feel the tension building. He glanced at Kelara. "We've done everything we can. Now it's up to the attackers to take the bait." Kelara's lips pressed into a thin line. "And up to humans to act when it matters most. Remember, your instincts are our strongest weapon." The enemy ships entered the sector, scanning for the outpost. Aaron held his breath as he watched them move into the trap. At the perfect moment, he signaled the shuttles to create false energy signatures, drawing the enemy into the corridor. As predicted, the larger ships followed, their movement slowed by the narrow passage and scattered asteroids. Kelara's fingers flew across the controls, activating a sequence that launched energy nets and magnetic pulses. Several enemy ships were trapped or disabled, their systems jammed. Aaron's heart raced as he piloted a shuttle alongside Kelara, guiding remaining defenders to strategic positions. The enemy realized the trap and tried to escape, but Aaron anticipated their moves. He guided shuttles to intercept, using the terrain and precise maneuvers to force them into positions where they could be neutralized without destroying them entirely. It was risky, and a single mistake could cost lives, but Aaron's quick thinking turned the tide. "Watch the flanks," Kelara shouted, pointing to a group of enemy ships attempting to bypass the corridor. Aaron pivoted his shuttle, firing non-lethal pulses to disable their engines, forcing them to retreat. The remaining enemy ships were disoriented, unable to coordinate effectively. Aaron glanced at Kelara, who nodded. "It's working," she said. "Humans adapt faster than they expect." Together, they continued coordinating the outpost's defenses, blending human ingenuity with alien technology. Aaron devised improvised maneuvers, using the outpost's energy fields to redirect enemy ships into asteroid collisions, while Kelara hacked into enemy communication networks to feed false information. The combination was chaotic, brilliant, and perfectly executed. After what felt like hours, the enemy fleet began to retreat, their formation broken, their morale shaken. Aaron allowed himself a brief smile. "We did it," he said, though Kelara shook her head. "Not completely," she warned. "They will regroup and other forces may follow. But this victory proves one thing: humans are more capable than they believe, more than we sometimes believe." Aaron's pride swelled. For the first time, he truly understood the HFY truth. Humans could face overwhelming odds with creativity, courage, and adaptability. Kelara's respect was evident, but more importantly, she trusted him. That trust was a rare gift in a galaxy of suspicion and danger. The outpost teams celebrated quietly, repairing systems and checking the remaining defenses. Aaron and Kelara worked tirelessly, coordinating scans for enemy movement, reinforcing shields, and preparing contingency plans. Through it all, their partnership strengthened, each relying on the other's skills, each learning from the other's perspective. As night fell in the artificial lighting cycle of the outpost, Aaron took a moment to rest near a viewport. The stars outside were unchanged, but to him, everything had shifted. He had faced impossible danger, trusted an alien ally, and seen firsthand how human ingenuity could make a difference. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but humans had the capacity to rise to the challenge. Kelara joined him quietly, standing beside the viewport. "You performed well today," she said softly. "Not just in battle, but in strategy and leadership. You proved what humans can do." Aaron smiled faintly. "I had a good teacher." She tilted her head, her golden eyes softening. "And I had a willing student." They stood together in silence, contemplating the stars. Despite the dangers still ahead, a sense of calm settled over them. They had survived, adapted, and triumphed, not through sheer power, but through courage, intelligence, and cooperation. Suddenly, the communication panel beeped. Commander Vera's holographic form appeared again. "Aaron, Kelara, the scans show that the enemy fleet has retreated beyond our sensor range. You've bought us time to prepare, and your actions may have prevented a larger disaster. The human crew here thanks you both." Aaron felt a deep sense of pride. "We just did what we could," he said modestly. "No," Kelara said firmly, "you did more than that. You reminded everyone, human and alien alike, that bravery, creativity, and quick thinking can change the outcome, even against overwhelming odds." Aaron looked at her, realizing the truth in her words. The galaxy might see humans as limited in technology or power, but their greatest strength lay in their adaptability, their courage, and their determination. He felt honored to have proven that today, to himself and to the galaxy. The days that followed were busy but rewarding. Aaron and Kelara worked together to strengthen defenses, train teams, and prepare for any future threats. The outpost became a hub of human-alien collaboration, a testament to what could be accomplished when species work together, combining intelligence, skill, and courage. Through it all, Aaron's confidence grew. He had faced danger, relied on his instincts, and helped turn the tide of a battle that might have seemed impossible. Humans were capable of more than anyone had expected, and he was living proof. Kelara's respect and trust reinforced that belief, and together, they forged a partnership that would stand strong against any challenge the galaxy could throw at them. One evening, as Aaron observed the stars again, Kelara joined him. She looked at him with a mixture of admiration and calm certainty. "The galaxy is dangerous, Aaron, but it is also full of opportunity, and humans have the potential to shape it in ways others cannot even imagine." Aaron nodded. "I know now. And I'll make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." Kelara smiled faintly. "Then we are a force to be reckoned with, together, human and alien." They stood side by side, looking out at the endless stars. The battle had been won, but the galaxy still awaited. Danger would come again, challenges would arise, and threats would persist. But humanity had shown its strength, and Aaron had proven that even a single human, armed with courage and intelligence, could make a difference. For the first time, Aaron felt the weight of his place in the galaxy, not as a lone soldier but as a part of something greater. Humans could rise, adapt, and overcome, and with allies like Kelara, they could shape the future, not just survive in it. The stars shimmered, silent witnesses to the triumph of human ingenuity, bravery, and resilience. And in that silence, Aaron felt a quiet pride. Humanity had its place in the galaxy, and it was stronger than anyone had ever imagined.